What's going on everyone, Mike here, and in this video we're having side by side the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. The S3 is the latest addition to Samsung's armada and is their current flagship smartphone, while the Note 3 remains their top phablet. The two devices share plenty of aspects, but they are also different in many ways. So if you want to know which of these two is the better pick right now, stick with me for the next couple of minutes and you'll find out. Aesthetically, the Galaxy S5 borrows many of its design lines from the Note 3. The two share a similar rectangular form factor with slightly rounded corners, the chromed edges and the soft plastic backs. Samsung introduced the soft rear plate with the Note 3 and carried it over to the S5 as well. However, they dumped the faux leather look of the Note for a new approach, a dimpled pattern. It's not the most appealing backplate in the world, but it's certainly not as kitschy as on the Note. Looks aside, the two phones sit well in hand and are fairly grippy. The plastic construction does feel somewhat cheap, but that's just something you'll have to live with if you're after a Samsung smartphone these days. Of course, the Note 3 is bigger than the Galaxy S5 and is heavier too. That's mainly because it packs a larger screen, but more about that in a bit. Those rear plates I was mentioning before are removable on these two devices, revealing the batteries and the SIM and microSD card trays. However, you will notice a rubber seal on the interior of the S5's plastic cover, as well as the fact that the microSD port situated on the lower lip, just like on the Note 3, is covered by a protective cap. That's because the Galaxy S5 is IP67 certified, dustproof and water resistant. The Note 3 was not. And since we're talking about the features missing from the Note 3, we should mention the notification LED on the S5, the heart rate sensor on the back, and the fingerprint sensor integrated within the power button. Those aside, the two phones share a similar layout, with buttons lined around the sides, screens covering most of the front faces, flanked by cameras on top and the Android controls on the bottom. There is however another difference I should mention. The Note 3's speakers is placed on the lower edge, while on the S5 it's on the back. The waterproofness does not have a noticeable negative effect on the audio coming out of the Galaxy S5, but the entire phone's back tends to vibrate strongly when pumping up the volume, and that can become annoying when watching movies or playing games. As I mentioned before, the Note 3 packs a larger screen than the S5, a 5.7-inch one compared to the 5.1-incher on the newer Galaxy. They do share a similar AMOLED panel and the same 1920 by 1080 pixel resolution, which means that they do share the same pros and cons. Strong contrast, deep black, slightly oversaturated colors. However, everything is going to appear larger on the Note due to its reduced pixel density and increased screen size, and that might be actually appreciated by some of you. On top of that, the Note 3 does come with the S Pen and its screen includes a Wacom digitizer layer to get along with it. Samsung also bundles a decent suite of apps with the Note 3, in their effort to make the pen more user-friendly. I for one don't use it much though, and I mostly take it out of its holster to show it to curious acquaintances. So for me, the S Pen, which is after all a major feature of the Note 3 and something that's not available on the Galaxy S5, does not matter that much. In fact, I'd put it on a similar line to the heart rate sensor on the S5. Cool at first, but mostly useless later. And I wonder if I'm the only one who feels this way. Regardless, enough ranting, let's get back to these phones. Hardware and software wise, they are close. The S5 is motorized by a slightly newer Snapdragon platform, but only packs 2GB of RAM, while the Note houses 3GB. You'll hardly see the differences in benchmarks, but in everyday use I did encounter some occasional hiccups on the Galaxy S5, while the Note 3 performed perfectly smooth. That might be due to the software though. The Galaxy S5 does come with Android 4.4.2 KitKat by default, with a redesigned TouchWiz version on top. The Note 3 came with Android 4.3 Jelly Bean back in the days, and it has received the KitKat upgrade in the meantime, but without the UI tweaks. The S5's TouchWiz iteration is flatter and simple, and the phone comes with fewer apps pre-installed than the older Galaxy handsets did. Regardless, Samsung still changed pretty much all the OS's main aspects and interfaces. However, there's now a multitasking capacitive button as part of the main Android controls on the Galaxy S5, which does bring the overall experience closer to vanilla Android. UI aside, the S5 bundles a few new features and redesigned apps over the Note 3. The Kids and the energy saving modes, the download booster, the new S-Health and My Files apps are only some of those. At the end of the day though, both the S5 and the Note 3 can easily tackle everything you might throw at them, from basic daily tasks to movies or games. And they handle this while performing smoothly 99% of the time. The Note 3 however wins the endurance game, as it packs a larger battery than the S5. With everyday use, the Galaxy S5 will go for around 2 days on a charge, while the Note can actually reach 3. Of course, these are highly subjective numbers and will vary based on how you use these devices, but as a common rule, the Note will outlast the S5 in pretty much all situations. However, it's worth noting that the newer Galaxy packs this battery-saving mode that limits its performances and grayscales the display in order to squeeze the most out of its battery. But this is for emergency situations only, and I doubt anyone will use it on a daily basis. Moving forward, before we wrap this up, we should talk about the cameras. The Note 3 is an overall great shooter, one of the best we could find in Android's cam these days. But the S5 ups the game to an even higher level. Samsung put a physically larger sensor on the Galaxy S5 and worked on improving the autofocus and shutter speeds. They also revamped the camera interface and added a few new features, like selective focus for instance, while keeping the tweaks and shooting modes available on the Note 3 as well. All this combined lead to great videos and stills coming out of both these phones, especially in good light, and fair results in poor light, although the two still struggle focusing in these conditions. If you're interested in analyzing the full-size pictures yourselves, I'll add them on the site and put the link in the description for you to check out at the end of the video. So, long story short, the Samsung Galaxy S5 does offer a handful of extras over the Note 3, but I doubt any of the improvements are actually enough to make you dump the Note 3 for this new handset. On the other hand, if you're looking to buy any of these two phones right now, the S5 does step in front with a brighter screen, newer software, improved camera and its new features. The Note 3 however has the price on its side, the superior battery life, the S Pen and the larger screen, which, despite the fact that it leads to a heavier and bigger smartphone, is for sure attractive to some of you out there. So in the end, the decision is all yours, as both the Note 3 and the S5 are excellent phones and both have enough aces down their sleeve to entangle you with their charms. So what will it be for you? What would you choose between these two? I'm looking forward to reading your replies, so go ahead and leave them in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel for more details on the Samsung Galaxy S5 and other popular devices. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.